Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about declined work. And this is something that can make a whole lot of money for you and for your company, but more importantly, you can take better care of your customers. The reason I really brought this up, we have a client in Florida that his service writer had not called anyone back the entire year. And when we looked over it, it was about $800,000 in declined work that he had never called back on. And for some reason, his check was a little bit slimmer this year and was just, saying, well, maybe it's the economy, people just aren't buying or things like that. But I wanted to dive into this. If you're going about this the right way, if you watched the webinar last week, we talked about why you're doing this. You're doing this to take care of the customer and the client. As long as you have that in mind, because the customer can smell right away if you're just trying to make a sale, if it's the last day of the month, whatever it may be, they can smell that on you. But if you're doing this with their best interest, that's what's going to make you successful. And yes, it's 10 days from Halloween, so I have a Halloween theme going on here. I think that it dresses it up a little bit, makes it more fun. I love holidays, so welcome to the party. I wanted to start off with some scary facts. A survey by Aftermarket Matters, it's a company that does surveys about aftermarket products and services. They found that about 64% of drivers say they are currently aware of a car repair that is needed, but that they are currently putting off. 64% of drivers are putting off a car repair that they're aware of, and they are just putting it off. So you don't have to sell them on it. They're aware of it. They just haven't pulled the trigger. This is a big number, and you should be very aware of that. That should scare you if it's like, for instance, if it's a car battery and we're going into cold season here in the United States. But if it's a car battery and that battery fails and your little teenage daughter goes out Christmas shopping, comes out and her car won't start in an empty parking lot, that's a safety concern. That should scare them. So, you need to take care of your customers. And if there's 64% of them, though, there are some of those that have teenage daughters that could be in that situation. These are very real things, folks. And so as long as you have your why strong enough, then you're not going to let your customers make the wrong decisions. In that same survey, 46% of drivers believe that they had paid for a repair that they could have avoided. That is your obstacle, is they don't want to pay for something or they don't want to get sold a bill of goods that they don't really need. And so if you watch some of those other webinars that we've done this month, then you'll be, and they're all public. You can go ahead and click on them and watch them, but then it'll talk about how to go over those, tell them what's really a priority and what's not. But that's what you're up against right there. Another 1,200 car owners that were surveyed, they found that 91.8%, that's almost 100%, by the way. 91.8% admitted that they'd postponed a car care task longer than they should have. I don't know who these other 8% are that have always done everything that the service writer asked them, but they're your magical customers, I guess. But that's what you're up against. I wanted to give you some hard numbers, some hard facts to arm you when you're going after this stuff. Why declined work matters. Why are cars getting sucked out of your shop? Lost revenue and opportunity. This is obviously your number one factor why we're talking today. But every declined repair equals money that's left the table. And just because they say no to you doesn't mean that they're saying no completely. They may be going down the road because the other shop had given them a lower price, or because they're scared of the price, so they go somewhere else for a second opinion, or they're just putting it off because the holidays are coming up and they want to buy their kids nice stuff, whatever it may be. It's still lost revenue, but that's why it matters. Also, on the customer's sake, like I talked about, for safety and trust, uh, if they have brakes that are getting thin, just tell them straight up, hey, your brakes are getting thin. This is a safety issue. Like I say, if it's a battery, if it's a starter, if it's something like that, they just paint the picture for them. Say, we're in a safe place right now, but this might happen to you in a less awesome place. If they have belts that are worn, I have followed a vehicle on a desert highway. This is a true story. My dad and I were driving along on a desert highway, and the vehicle in front of us, I watched a belt come out of their vehicle and roll along into the weeds. There's no way they would have ever found it had we not have pulled over. but their belt came off right there in the middle of the desert. Obviously not an opportune place, but if you see anything that's torn, worn, or frayed, you need to bring that up to them and let them know that, hey, there's an opportunity for failure here. So it's in their best interest, and you should always be talking in their best interest. The right way to follow up. This is a big deal. Tact matters. So say they decline it, they walk out. Don't call them back an hour later or the next day. You sound desperate or too pushy. Wait 2 or 3 days. This is my recommendation. I'm not a shop fix. I'm not one of these other big groups that teaches sales. This is part of your marketing package. This is something that I've found to work for our auto shops through experience. And so I like to wait 2 or 3 days after the decline. It's not too pushy, but it's at the same time, it's not forgotten. Method, I like a phone call. Nothing beats a phone call. Uh, a text message reminder can work, but we'll talk about how to do it. But when you do it, your timing is imperative. Uh, Here's your little script. Hi, when you were in last week, we noticed your brakes needed service. We want to make sure that you're safe. Would you like to schedule that repair before it worsens? Hopefully, you already talked to them in their visit on how it can worsen. If they don't take care of their brakes when it's recommended, then they can be into their rotors. And so it can easily double in more than double in price. Everybody knows that's here. I like sales. If you call back and say, hey, we're going to be offering 10% off for a Halloween sale. Why don't you bring your vehicle back in? We'll knock 10% off that brake repair that we'd quoted you. That is an awesome way to bring them back in. And so you're turning a no into a yes. You're giving them a reason to come back in. And sometimes you're actually making it possible for them to come back in. Offering options of financing, and sometimes they've gotten a paycheck in that time period, and that they're like, oh, okay, let's do that. Or you can literally just work with them and say, okay, when would be a time when it would be better to bring that back in, and work with them. Just be a human. Building value, showing cost savings that you can indeed save. You can save money by bringing it in now. Uh, like I say, I love the 10% off. If it's an oil change that they're putting off, then you can throw, some of you have door hangers for an irresistible offer, whether it be like $49.99 for an oil change. Say, hey, we'll honor this coupon. I've got a coupon on my desk that I'll give you. Let them know that you're hooking them up. And then I like to use visuals, and it can be something to the effect of, if you're going to email them over, just send them a picture of their brakes. And that's really all that it boils down to, is you just send them a picture of whatever it was. And in sales, they call it a pain point. You bring that pain point back up and just say, hey, I just want you to be aware, this is what it looks like. When you're able to, if they are going to decline it again, when you're able to, please give us a call. But if we can just go ahead and set something up for even 90 days in the future, would that work for you? And once again, not being too pushy, just looking out for them. So at any rate, folks, I wanted to keep this nice and short. In 10 minutes, we have pulled off how to work on those declined dollars. Did anybody have any questions? I'm more than happy to field any questions. If you have any concerns that you've had a hard time getting over, then I'm happy to help you with concerns. So if anybody else doesn't have any more questions, we'll go ahead and end until next Tuesday, of which I will be at Shop Fix. So we're hoping to broadcast live if their schedule allows us to. If not, then we'll just message that out that it'll be a bye week. So I will talk to y'all next week. Thank you so much.